Here are the most common underlying root causes that I see are driving most people's chronic health issues. And this goes for severe chronic health problems like major autoimmune disorders, to something that maybe seems more simple like hormone imbalances. A lot of these are probably behind cancers. Basically, any time that our body isn't functioning how it should be, and you feel like you're otherwise living a clean lifestyle, because obviously if you're eating a bunch of processed foods, then you're going to be sick. But if you feel like you're living fairly clean, but you're sicker than all the people you know who don't live as healthy as you, then you know you've got these underlying root causes, and that's what I want to address here. Now, it's often a combination of these things as well, so it's not just going to be one of them. So usually you're going to be better off testing multiple of these things depending on what your symptoms are. So the first one I always start with is mold. Mold is probably the most underappreciated root cause of chronic health issues. I see so many people dealing with mold toxicity. Our bodies are so overloaded with toxins that then we get exposed to mold and we can't move it out. So 25% of people can't make the right antibodies to the mold mycotoxins because of certain genetics, but there's a lot more than just those people who struggle with it because of the toxic soup we're in. So mold, you want to do a simple urine panel. I really like Vibrant Wellness's mold mycotoxin panel. Even better, do their total tox burden panel, because that also looks at heavy metals and environmental toxins, which are two more common causes of chronic health issues. If you struggle with heavy metal toxicity, like I do because I've got the MTHFR gene mutations, then my body struggles to move those metals out of my body. And those metals can cause cancer, they can cause all sorts of stress on your immune system, and so can the environmental toxins. Our BPAs, our plastics, our other solvents, phthalates, parabens, but the worst, in my opinion, are the pesticides and herbicides, especially glyphosate. They destroy the gut, they destroy your immune system, and they will absolutely crush your health. And even if you're dealing with a mold or something else, you've almost always got these toxins and metals in there wreaking havoc as well. Then we've got the forever chemicals. You'll often see them written as PFAs, because these things are, as they stated, they're very hard for the body to get rid of. We're basically stuck with them maybe forever, or at least for a very long time. And like the other environmental toxins I just talked about, they create havoc within the body, cause all sorts of autoimmune and cancer problems. Then we've got some more of the living biotoxins, parasites, and then the viruses and co-infections that often come with those. It's very common for someone to have a chronic strep A infection that just hangs around in their body. We've got the Lyme bacteria that don't just have to come from a tick bite, and you don't have to have had a bullseye rash to have those. Things like Bartonella, and then also their co-infections. So think of Bartonella, Babesia, Borrelia, Rickets, West Nile, Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, the different herpes viruses. All of these things can create absolute havoc with your health. So how do we test a lot of this stuff? Well, like I said, for mold, environmental toxins, and metals, I really like the Total Tox Burden Panel by Vibrant. It's also good to back that up with an organic acids test. I actually prefer the Great Plains Laboratory, which is now Mosaic Diagnostics one, better than the Vibrant one there. When it comes to parasites, it's very hard to find them in the stool test. Either just assume you've got them, or you can do a blood test for the toxoplasma, microscopic bloodborne parasite. Vibrant does a really good viral panel where they look at Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, parvovirus, the herpes viruses, strep, as well as that parasite, the toxoplasma. Vibrant also does a really good Lyme and its co-infections test. Now, it's very extensive, and it costs quite a bit of money, but it will find all of them. So if you suspect some kind of Lyme or co-infection, that's a really good panel to do. But the point of all this is, if you're struggling with the chronic health issues and you feel like you've run into dead ends and you're getting no answers, these are great starting points. Go and find some kind of functional med doctor or practitioner who will work with this kind of stuff. Even if you have to guide them and say, look, these are the tests I want, help me get them set up. Some of the Lyme ones you can do as a blood spot at home, and all the urine ones you can do at home. So you don't even need a doctor to run those. But that's where it would be my absolute minimum starting point. Then it is nice to get some baseline blood work done too, to see what your inflammation levels are like. to see what your insulin and glucose levels are like. Often I like to see the anemia panel to see what's our iron doing, because too high or too low gives us a lot of information. And I really like to see what thyroid and overall hormones are doing, not because I want to go and correct those on a hormone level, because to me the root cause is deeper than that. When you clear out the root cause, you clean up the gut, you clean up your lifestyle, the hormones will almost certainly always balance out as well. And of course, keep in mind, all these tests are great, but if you're eating a ton of seed oils and processed sugars and foods, then you're really not going to be healthy anyway. So you always want to start with lifestyle first. But if you're eating clean and trying to exercise and you have no energy, or you still just can't get rid of weight, then that's where these tests are really valuable.